is everyone? Hi, Natalie. Hi, Meg. Hi, Carrie. Let me just scroll up real quick. Susanna, how are you? Natalie, how are you hanging in there? Are you doing all right? Hey. I'm just putting my hair up because it's getting on my nerves. Okay, this morning you can always call. We can like stitch and chat together, you know? Have a little stitching and chatting session. Just put it on speakerphone and then, yeah, you do your stitching and I'll talk and you do yours and then I'll do my stitching and you talk. It's fine. It's like being on the phone, you know? Like we did in the olden days. Natalie says, yes, good. Homework time with the kiddos whilst I print. Good. She said, your accent is so cool. Oh, Jesus. Hi, Tash. How are you doing? I saw your stories this morning. You sounded really sad. Carrie says, we've just been doing some of the tasks from Jake's homework. He chose dancing and singing. I'm knackered. But you've got your exercise in for the day, didn't you? So that's good. You got it all out. Okay, so I've just come on to one chat, but to do the stitch along kind of prep video. So I'll kind of do a bit of chatting and then also hopefully explain about stitch along. So when you get your pattern, it will be sized for a 6-inch hoop, which is this size. And it's also sized for an 8-inch hoop, which is this size. It's up to you, whatever you choose. I think the 6 is a little bit small, but I know that some people, they don't have that much time. So when you have a smaller hoop, you can use less strands. So instead of, if I use 6, you could use 4, or you could use 3, and kind of fill in that design a little bit quicker. So that's an option. And then the 8-inch hoop is this big, and the flowers aren't ungodly big. Do you know what I mean? Because they are still quite small flowers. There's 15 of them. So those are the two sizes. I will say, because some people have never done any stitching before at all for this stitch along, I will kind of talk a little bit about the hoops. So the hoops work like this. There's a little screw at the top. Yeah, and there's 2 little hoops. One's completely solid round, and the other one has this little slit in it with this little hardware at the top. So some hoops that you get will also have this like nut on it that's not connected, whereas this one doesn't have that. It's this piece here is actually connected to this this metal L bracket. Yeah, so it just depends on what kind you get. If you happen to get one of these, you might need some pliers like this to hold this and make it really, really tight. So let me show you. So what you're gonna do is take your fabric, yeah? If you have anything like this, these kind of like pointy things, we'll cut those off later, because as you're stitching, the thread tends to make little loops, and then the loops will get caught on this. So you'll be constantly like pulling these into your pattern, and that's so annoying. So what you're gonna do is put this in here like this. And you're just gonna try and make sure that it's about centered, meaning that there's the same amount of fabric all around. You don't want it to be really, really close to one side like this. You want it to be like right in the middle, as much as you can. And you're gonna put this over on top of it. I think another thing that really helps is if you look at the woven direction of the weave. So when people make fabric, I'm just going over everything, okay? Every single little thing. Hi, Meg. They have threads that go this way and threads that go this way, and those will make up your fabric. So if you look closely, I want to have my threads go straight down from here, straight down, and these ones go straight over. I don't really want to have them go like a diagonal like that. See how it makes like an X? I want to have it like across like that. And I find that that just helps to make the fabric a little bit tight and more even. That's just me. So this is what we have so far. You can tell that it's not in there really tight. The fabric is still really wrinkly. So we're just going to tighten this a little bit. Yeah. And you're going to take this right here. I'm putting my stomach like really out because I'm going to put the hoop against my body and pull. Hi, Claire. And you're going to pull all the way around. And you can see here that the fabric is getting tight. You're going to pull all the way around. And at first you're going to think this is out of control. I'm pulling too much, too tight, not tight enough. I don't know. But you'll definitely see. Yeah, I still need to pull there. So this right here is just getting it like a uniformly amount of tight, if that makes any sense. Okay, but it's still not really tight. So you're going to go back and really tighten that up. Okay, and then go around again and tighten it. And what you're looking for is the fabric on top of the hoop to make a sound like a drum. So you want it to be really nice and like almost really taut. Okay, now after you do that, you'll notice that sometimes your outer hoop will slip up a little bit, and all you need to do is just push that back down. And you just want it to be even. So there you go. And if you listen, it makes that nice tight sound. The other thing that you can do is just quickly run your finger around the outside. Ooh, why am I shaking like that? And anywhere that you feel a really big dip, like for me is right here. This right here is where it's not very, very tight. There might be a gap in these two hoops. So when you pick your hoops, you'll see that sometimes, like this one here, this right here will be a little bit difficult to work with because there's a gap in there you can see through. Now, this one will also be difficult to work with because when I got it, the middle is broken. So I won't be using this one for anything. But yeah, check your hoops and make sure that the one that you get is really nice. I'll show you another example of one that I don't really like. These are the ones from Hobby Lobby. Yeah, Hobby Lobby in America. These are not my favorite at all. They're really, really flimsy. And you can kind of see that it's not as nice of a quality as these ones are. Or even these ones. You can kind of like see them next to each other. These ones are much nicer. So obviously you're not going to see the inside hoop. So if that one is, doesn't look very pretty, or the wood isn't like all the same color, like don't worry about that. But it's just this outside hoop. I really wasn't impressed with Hobby Lobby's hoop selection. So just have a look at that. Really quickly, I'm going to talk about fabric. I know I talked about the weave of the fabric. Mine are going straight down and straight across. You can use a plastic hoop if you want to, of course. I just didn't have a, where is it? I didn't have a 8-inch plastic hoop. I only had a 10 or a 6. And 10 is too big for this project. So here's the 6-inch hoop that I have. It works exactly the same way. Yeah, this one you need a screwdriver and the pliers like I showed before. But yeah, they're totally fine. The plastic hoops seem to work a little bit better as far as keeping the inside and the outside hoops the same. Do you know what I mean? So there tends to not be these gaps in the plastic hoops. Just depends on what you like working with. and what it like got really nice and bright and sunny. Did you guys see that? Woo! I've just acknowledged it, so it's gonna go away. I know it. Oh no, they're not substandard at all. A lot of people will actually work in the plastic hoop to start with, and then if you like the look of the wooden hoop, because on the wooden hoops you can paint them, you can sand them, you can stain them, you can decorate the outside with like ribbons and stuff, you can glue crap on them, all kinds of things. Whereas the plastic ones, you're kind of stuck with whatever color texture that you get. So I got this one from a little craft kit that someone bought me. And yeah, it works fine. It just depends on what you like working with. So there's that. For fabric, I use 100% white cotton fabric. Some people like a linen fabric. I'll show you that in a minute. Some people like a linen cotton blend fabric, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. You just want no stretch. So what happens is that we've stretched this fabric so that it's nice and tight with this drum sound. But when you have stretchy fabric, even like a t-shirt, yeah, if I stretch this out to stitch on it and then make it go back to how it was, all of your stitches are gonna hump up. So that's why people who stitch on t-shirts, they always put a stabilizer on the back. And if you look at any kind of stitching, like embroidery work, like on the left breast pocket type area, there'll always be that white stabilizer behind it because it's making the t-shirt not stretch when you go to put the design on. So think about that. This is just a white cotton. Where's my pink one? The music is going to make a noise in a minute. So this is like a cotton linen blend. I got it from Joann's in America. It's a nice mustard color. This one is straight up linen. It has a very, very loose weave, so it's easy to stick your needle through, but some of the stitches can pull, meaning your stitches won't be as precise, meaning if I put it here, it might kind of sink down a little bit as I push them together. Told you. And you can almost see right here how some of the fabric is like pulled apart. So before I close the back of this one up, I'll put a fabric behind it so you can't see through. Yeah? And then here's another pink linen. It doesn't have as loose of a fabric as as loose of a weave as the blue does. But again, it is looser than this one. So a lot of it is personal preference. It's whatever you decide, whatever you like to choose. A lot of people really love linen and then they only stitch on that, or a cotton linen blend. Other people swear by 100% cotton or like a cotton twill, which is almost like jeans fabric. Here's another just 100% cotton. It just depends on what you like. If you are short on funds and you're like, I really can't be going to Joann Fabrics or, online and spending like $15 or 15 pounds for fabric for this. Like, this isn't what I signed up for. Go and check your linen closet. You can do pillowcases. You can do even like men's cotton, like that poplin shirts they use, like dress shirts. You can use tablecloths. You can use shower curtains even if they're cotton and they don't stretch. You can use old bed sheets or duvet covers. Just cut a little bit out. Perfect. Lots of people, they use only upcycled materials. So you can even go to your local charity shop and have a look and see what they have if you can't go to the shop or can't afford going to the shops. And that's totally fine. So what we'll do before we transfer the pattern is we're going to cut all of these edges off and we're going to make it round. So for this part, I'm not being like precise or anything. I'm just cutting it into a circle. And I don't want to be too close because I'm going to cut a little bit off at the very end when we close up the back of the hoop. So I'm just cutting off any like points. I'm going to slice that in half. So any of these kind of like jagged shapes, You can also use pinking shears to do this. Pinking shears, instead of cutting straight, they cut on a zigzag like this. They'll be like this. Sound effects. Artist's own. They're like that. So instead of cutting a straight line, they cut like this. And that will make the fabric to not fray. So it just depends. Mine are not sharp. They're like from 1980. So they're not sharp anymore. I need to get them sharpened, if that's even a thing. I don't know. All right, are you still with me? I hope so. There's like a lot to go over, but then also I realize I do talk quickly, so I'm trying not to like overwhelm anyone, you know? All right, so we have our fabric in our hoop. We've chosen our fabric. We've got a really nice, good hoop. We have a drum sound. Now how to get the pattern onto the fabric. This is way easier than it sounds, so don't freak out. So what you're gonna do is, if you have a printer, you can print out the patterns. So I've already transferred this. I'm not gonna do it again. I'm just gonna show you how to do it. So these are probably not sized correctly. Oh, it is. It is sized correctly. That's nice. So what you're gonna do is print it out. You're gonna print this one. I didn't include this one really, really big. I've only included this one to talk about color later. So we'll just put that one to the side. So these are all the flowers that you have in your pattern. Choose which size that you want, and you can print just that one. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. So the first way is you're gonna cut this out, not on the line, but a little bit smaller than the line. So you're gonna go on the inside edge just like that. And TV magic, just like the TV shows do it. Ta-da, I've done it. So cut it all out. And there's a couple ways you can do this from now. The lazy way, which is the way that I like to do it, because I don't want to rehoop my fabric again. Because once it's done, it's done. You know, I don't really want to like go back and like do it again and again and again. But sometimes you have to. So I'll show you a couple different ways. So the first way, you cut it out and you slide it under like this, and you get it nice and straight, however you want it. You obviously don't want it like this, or else you'll have to rehoop your fabric. So you want to get it nice and straight, as straight as you can. Now you don't have to do this part because you could just hold it and trace it, but I've just got blue tack, and all I'm going to do, I've cut this one a bit small, haven't I? You're just going to push that right up on the paper and also onto the wood. And then when you flip it over, you can use a bunch of different things to transfer it. But you can see that because the lines are nice and bold, literally all you have to do is put your fingers behind, and then you can draw all of the details on, okay? The second way you can do it is the other way, but then you'll have to rehoop it. So the other way is to lay this flat, line up your front, and put it straight over top like this. And you just have to make sure that it's straight like that. Okay, and then that way you have a hard surface to actually trace on. The third way is, if you don't have a printer, that's totally fine. I'm assuming that you have a computer or an iPad or something, because you have to have one or do the stitch along, is you can take your iPad or your computer screen, you can zoom in and out. Obviously, it's not going to be as bright because the windows are all open, but you go into like a dark room, yeah? And you can trace it straight from there. Now, with the iPad one, if you push your home button 3 times, it can do this guided access, and it makes the screen not move. So I've obviously drawn a circle around, and you can push start. Yeah? So anywhere I touch in the middle, I won't be able to move because obviously I've touched the outside of the circle. So it's gone back. Do you know what I mean? So you can go to settings. What are you doing? So you can go to settings and then you can push the home button 3 times and then that will enable that for you. So there's that way. There's even a 4th way and that's to just straight up hang your pattern on the window like this. And then you can put it right behind because the light from the window will be much stronger even than just holding it. So there's a lot of different ways to transfer. But what to use to transfer? Natalie, I really do. I have 2 skylights. So I have a big window in front of me and then I have a skylight just there and a skylight just there. So believe it or not, when it's really sunny, it's like horrible, absolutely horrible to film anything here because everything just gets like blown out. Not white, but like it's hard to describe. You almost have to have like less light, you know? It's like too crazy. So over here, I've got a couple things that you can use to transfer the pattern with. The first couple are things I got in America, but you can definitely get them here in England as well. They're just on Amazon. So this one is a Quilter's Disappearing Ink Pen. I think it's out of ink, to be fair. Yeah, it totally is. But with these ones, you just draw whatever you want. It comes out purple and then it disappears over time. So you don't have to get it wet. You don't have to wash it. It just disappears. But the bad part is that it kind of disappears in about an hour or 2 hours. So if we're only going to do 1 flower per day. So you're definitely going to have to keep redoing it, redrawing it over and over and over. And that can kind of be a pain sometimes. So I wouldn't recommend this one. This one is the water erasable pen, and it does exactly that. You draw it, and you have to get it wet in order to have it disappear. This one might be out of ink, but I don't know. I haven't used these in years. It's still there. So this is about how thick the line is. And you do have to get it wet to make it disappear. So when you get it wet, I recommend taking it out of the hoop and then getting it wet in cold water. Reds, blacks, yeah, pretty much those 2. They're always notorious for bleeding, so they don't always do it, but it's always the time when you don't want them to do it. That's when they will decide to bleed. So I've kind of moved away from the water-soluble pens just because I've had too many bad experiences with finishing in order and then getting it wet and putting it to dry and then getting like almost like a halo of around the black. And it doesn't happen every time, like I said, which is why it's a little bit like, why? And any kind of thread, DMC, Anchor, the Trebla ones I've used, Sublime Stitching. I mean, it just depends. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it does it, and sometimes it doesn't. So it's just a crapshoot, kind of. You can also use a pencil, just a regular pencil, like that. The only bad part is that you can't really erase it on the fabric. I haven't really found a good way to erase it. So if you're very, very, very confident with your lines, then you can just straight up use a pencil. The ones that I tend to use the most are these Pilot Frixion pens. Frixion. They look like this. You can get them from Target. You can get them from Walmart. You can get them from Sainsbury's. You can get them from Amazon. If you look on Amazon, there's all kinds of different ones. So I've got almost all of them out because I kind of wanted to show you the different thicknesses. So there's 10, 7, 5. And that's the different thicknesses of the lines. So we have 10, then we have 7, And then we have 5. Come on. So just a minute, Meg. So we've got these ones a little bit thicker, a little bit thinner, and then the 0.5 ones are the thinnest. I found that purple erases really well. Green erases really well. I don't have any green ones actually around me, which is ironic because they're my favorite ones. The light blue isn't too bad. And where's the other one? Orange. Orange is good too. Obviously those ones you kind of have to order online because they don't often have the orange pens. But I know that they have a pack of blue, red, and black in Sainsbury's at £7. And they are these ones with the caps. Yeah. So someone's just said, which color friction pen do you use on dark colored fabric? So for dark color fabric, these will not work. They're not actually meant to be used for fabric. They're meant to be used to erase, just on regular paper, to erase what you've done. So that's why they've got these little nubs on the end. So they are just an erasable pen. So it's a friction erasable pen. They also erase with a hairdryer, so that's why a lot of embroidery artists use these, but they will make a little phantom line. So real quick, I'm just gonna go and erase this with the hairdryer, and then you can kind of see, hi George, then you can kind of see what it will look like when it's finished, like when it's all erased. I do find that after you've blow dried it and erased it, if there is a little line, if you just put a little bit of water around it and then let it dry naturally, then it will go away. So I missed you, Georgie. So I'll be right back and I'll do the hairdryer thing. It's literally right here, so like I'm not going far. Okay. So I've already done the fabric at the beginning of the video. So after the video is finished, you can kind of go back and have a look at what type of fabric that I usually use because I've already chatted about it. So you can kind of see this 10 one. You can definitely see the like yellow marks almost, whereas the other ones you can't see it so much. I should have made like curved lines and then maybe you could see it a little bit better. But some of them do leave a little like faint, you know, like a ghost mark. Yeah. If you put this in the freezer, they'll come back. And if you do it on dark colored fabric, they actually leave a white line behind. So if you're going to put this on like black or dark blue, like I've shown you before, I would use either like a white gel pen, which again, you might not be able to erase it. It just depends. You could use a chalk pencil. So chalk pencils look just like this. They just have a white chalk inside. Sometimes it's yellow. You can use dressmaking chalk, which is triangle in shape. They're quite small. They're about that big. And they kind of have a beveled edge on each of the sides. So they're not necessarily the sharpest, most precise things, but you could probably, what I do is I break it in half and then you can kind of use the point to map out what you need. So again, it's a little bit with dark fabric. If this is your first stitch along and you've never done it ever before, I would suggest something lighter just to make it easier on you, but that's just me. Okay, so pens, finished. We've talked about how to transfer the pattern, and look, I've done it. The magic of television, right? Done it again. Now we just need to talk about colors, and then I'm finished, I think. And then obviously if you've got any questions, like, shout. Okay. You really don't need all these colors for the stitch along. You could probably get away with like 8, maybe at the max. I'd actually love to see someone do this in all one color. I think it would be really pretty. like on a gray fabric with like white. Oh, that would be so beautiful. So this is what I've kind of tentatively colored them all. They are, almost all of them are actual flowers, so you can kind of have a look at what colors they are. Some of them are obviously, I've just made them up, so you know, you can make them any color because I've made them up. They're not meant to be a color. This one's like an anemone, anemone, and they come in all kinds of different colors. I've chosen like the white one with a little bit of a light pink center. You've got some tulips here. This is like a Queen Anne's lace. This is a Black-Eyed Susan. So they're yellow, like a mustardy kind of yellow, not a bright yellow. They're almost like this, but a little bit lighter, really. And then they do have that dark center, so they're not like a regular daisy. This one was a pretty flower that I actually found on Pinterest, and it's like how to describe it? It's like a light yellow, like this one, but then it has these really pretty like orange stripes down each of the leaves. Really nice, and then like a pinkish reddish center. So there's that one. You don't have to follow these. I'm just telling you what they are. These are kind of like a rosebud. Then you've got like a peony. These are poppies. So they'll be like a bright red, not necessarily a, I don't have any out. Perfect. Yeah, I haven't got any, but not like a dark red. Not like this one. Like a really bright one. This one right here I also found on Pinterest. It's like a bright pink flower, and then on the inside they've got these light colored streaks in each of the petals. So I thought that would be really pretty. These ones, we're going to do French knots on the tips of them, and they're like, oh, I was telling someone yesterday what they were, and I can't remember what they're called now. But I'll look them all up again so that you can, if you want to like match them, then you can. These are snowdrops, so they'll be like a white color or off-white. So yeah, there you go. They could be bluebells as well, because bluebells are also that shape. So if you wanted to make them blue, you could do that. Ooh, someone's just said, should I buy the pattern to stitch along with you? Of course you should. Why not? So there's kind of the colors that I've done it. I've also kind of had to think about what colors we already used for the last one, where these ones are all like warm tones. So I've tried to include some that had some blue and purples and oranges. So hopefully if you wanted to like put them together, they could like complement each other. So there's that. Right. Do you have any other questions? I will say you can use any color that you want. I mean, you don't have to follow along with the colors that I've chosen. Please, please, please choose your own colors. Choose what colors you like in your house. Choose what colors that you find joyful. If you want every color to be purple, then make them all purple. Like, do it. That's your thing. It's all about you. It's going to hang in your house. So that's that. I will say I had 2 or 3 people actually message about using these flowers in their work. And I did touch on that a little bit before about this pattern and how some flowers are literally just that stitch. So just a recap for if you didn't know, about, I don't know, 2 months ago maybe, someone messaged me about they've used some of my drawings in their own work and that they were selling them, and they wanted to kind of say, is that okay? And I said, not really, because the flowers that I've drawn myself, so it's my work. So you shouldn't use someone else's work in your work and sell it. So I don't mind if you take all of these and stitch them up and gift it to your nan, or raise some money for charity and give it to someone, or give it to your sister, hang it in your house. Those things are all fine. But if you're going to sell your work, then it needs to be 100% yours. So things like this woven wheel wagon rose, Natalie does these all the time, and it's not a problem. That's the stitch, that's the flower, that's it. There's no more to it. Like, there's no other way that you can really do a woven wagon wheel rose that's different from anybody else, because that's the flower, that's the stitch, that's it. But other ones like this one, like I've made that up myself. And some of the other ones as well, you kind of think, I've kind of drawn that. That's definitely mine. So just have a think about that. If you are going to sell your work and you are going to do the stitch along, I've given you a great way to practice all of the stitches. So we'll do a lot of different stitches. So I am teaching you the stitches. I'm not teaching you how to do this flower so that you can go and put it in your work and sell it and make money. Do you know what I mean? This isn't like a clip art class that you can kind of take all the elements from the pattern and then pass them off as your own. I hope that that's clear and not too like mean or nasty, because that's not my intent at all, like at all. But just really think before you sell your work. Is it 100% yours, or can you pick out parts that definitely looks like Tori's? Because if you can say that even a little bit, then other people will be able to see that. So I just thought I'd PSA again. I'll get down from my TED Talk again. But just I had a couple people message about it, so I thought I would talk about it again. So there you go. Someone also said that there's only so many ways to draw a flower. And I will disagree with that, because like I said, Natalie has loads of followers as well. This is her full job. This is her job, doing embroidery. And her work and my work is very, very different. So, she says, I'm going to have to go. Have loved listening along. Thank you for being present. Have a wonderful day, and speak to you later. You also. And message me if you need to chat, because I know adult conversation. I'm always there for you. So yeah, I could draw 30 more flowers. There's 15 here and 15 here. I could draw 30 more, and they would all be different. So, you need to put your own touch on your own work. So people can say, oh, that's definitely Natalie's, that's definitely Tori's, that's definitely Meg's, that's definitely Carrie's. So that's it. Like I said, my TED Talk is finished. So I hope you guys have a great day. It is a Friday, so there's that. If you've been stuck inside or stuck, watching kids that are normally in school, hats off to you. Hopefully this will give you a bit of a break, some me time. What else? Yeah, get your friends involved. You guys can FaceTime stitch together. That would be quite fun. Meg says, will the stitch along be at the same time each day? I'm going to try. It starts on Monday, and I'll do it at 10 a.m., just our regular 10 a.m. British Standard Time. And then I'll try to do a couple maybe extra ones in the evenings so that people in America can maybe come to a live. I know I always try to do it a little bit later, but as far as I know, I don't actually have anything scheduled until the 10th. And the 10th we're meant to go to Devon, but I'm not sure if we'll go. I'm not sure because David is a teacher, and they're saying that they're going to keep the schools open over Easter break as well, for children of key workers and vulnerable children. So they're doing a rota type situation. So I'm not really sure if we'll have the whole time off. It's going to be a cottage in the middle of nowhere, not close to anybody. So we'll see. On the 10th, that's the day we're supposed to leave. And that's also the very last day of the stitch along. So I'm hoping that I can do the stitch along and then we can jump in the car and go. Or I can do the stitch along on Thursday evening, the last day on Thursday evening, and then upload it on Friday. And then you guys can finish then. But I don't have anything planned. So mostly it will be 10 o'clock, and then maybe a couple extra days in the evenings for people in the States. Yeah? All right. Well, if you've got any questions, let me know. And yeah, invite your friends, and hopefully we can bring a little hope and joy to this weird situation we're in. Oh, Carrie said, I've been transferring my pattern while listening now. I'm so excited. I'm so glad. Carrie is an NHS worker, so I think we all need to go and give her a hand clap and hearts and love because, man, that is, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's all I can say. All right, so I'm going to go and stitch the rest of the green kit. This is what we have so far. Look at those. So pretty. So this is going to be the new green kit. If I can finish it today, then I'll post it today. But we'll see. And then, yeah, I think that's it from me. I'm just going to try and relax and do some stitching and not think about the world. All right. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay inside. Isolate and create. Bye.